Thank you all for joining this intercultural dialogue. Our goal today is to discuss the challenges and opportunities surrounding the integration of cultural diversity and the promotion of equality and equity in Mexico. Let's start with opening statements from each of the three actors.
The term Zapatista broadly refers to a group of people that participated in the anti globalization struggle for democracy and land reform in Chiapas, Mexico. This was established as a protest to recover not only a full participation but also their lands and of the indigenous communities, and the main goal of this SZLN was the disruption of the state, but it had a goal that went far beyond the disruption of the state, and it was the creation for the democratization of themselves as a guerrilla force. All of this was made with cooperation with indigenous peoples and communities that took place in San Cristobal de las Casas, Chiapas on January the 1st, 1994. An important moment for not only giving visibility but also recognition to this movement was the signing of NAFTA. It took place on a period of globalization that was uh, the main time for the rebellion to take place and take significant factors, not only the disruption and inequality and poverty and not having a full participation on politics, but also the combination of ecological risk, non-agricultural sources of income that were happening, and also a necessity of a new reorganization of these indigenous communities. To sum up, this movement provided a new rearticulation of ethnic identities. All of this with the aim of giving emancipatory political not only discourses but also human rights, and providing a broad perspective regarding indigenous communities' participation in the society, but all with a recognition of themselves as part of the Mexican state, and also having a full visibility in the international arena. All of this uh, with the purpose of having a full participation and voice on the decision making processes that concern their languages, their identities, their history, their past, and also what is expected for their future and for the generations to come.
As a representative of the Mexican government, I acknowledge all the historical injustice and the inequalities faced by indigenous communities in our country. The Mexican state is committed to upholding the rights and dignity of all citizens. We have made efforts to recognize and protect indigenous rights through legislative reforms and international agreements. However, challenges remain in effectively implementing these measures and addressing the systematic issues that perpetuate marginalization. Our goal is to work collaboratively with indigenous communities to find sustainable solutions and promote social inclusion.
As representative of indigenous communities, we have endured centuries of discrimination, exploitation, and marginalization. The uprising of the Zapatista National Liberation Army in 1994 was a response to the systemic injustices faced by indigenous people in Mexico, particularly in Chiapas. Despite some progress in recognizing our rights, including the San Andres Agreement, the Mexican government has failed to fully implement these commitments. We demand genuine autonomy and self determination to govern our territories and protect our cultural heritage. Only through meaningful dialogue and respect for our rights can we achieve true equality and equity in Mexican society.
International organizations are ready to support efforts to promote the rights and well being of indigenous people in Mexico. We urge the Mexican government to fully implement the San Andres Larrainzar Agreement and other commitments to indigenous rights. This includes ensuring access to justice, land rights, and culturally appropriate services. Intercultural dialogue plays a crucial role in building mutual understanding and trust between the state and indigenous communities. By working together, we can address the root causes of inequality and create a more inclusive and equitable society for the future generations to come.
Thank you for your opening statements. Now, let's delve into the key issues raised and explore the potential solutions. How can we reconcile the need for cultural diversity with the principles of equality and equity in Mexico?
We recognize the importance of cultural diversity as a fundamental aspect of Mexican identity. However, we also believe that equality and equity must be upheld for all citizens, regardless of their cultural background. We are committed to promoting inclusive policies that respect and celebrate cultural diversity while ensuring that all individuals have equal access to opportunities and resources. This requires a comprehensive approach that addresses the socioeconomic disparities faced by indigenous communities and promote their meaningful participation in decision-making processes.
While we appreciate the government's rhetoric on inclusivity, the reality on the ground tells a different story. Indigenous communities continue to face discrimination, land dispossession, and violence. True equality cannot be achieved without addressing the structural barriers that perpetuate our marginalization. We demand the right to self determination and the recognition of our collective rights to land, resources, and cultural autonomy. Only through genuine dialogue and partnership can we build a more just and equitable society for all.
As an international effort, the United Nations has adopted the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People in order to address individual but also collective rights, considering cultural rights, health, employment, education, language, though all of these rights that need to be guaranteed, even though the context and social implications indigenous communities found themselves. This text establishes that it's of extreme urgency to start protecting and those rights from indigenous people in order for them to have full access and full joy of their human rights and also make them part of their daily basis because they are equal human beings and they deserve to receive the same treat and the same uh, considerations and opportunities as every single human being. Therefore, the United Nations has established the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People as an effort not only to address the individual but also the collective rights, the cultural rights, identity rights, education, health, employment, and language in order for indigenous communities to be part and get.
Thank you all for your insightful contributions to this dialogue. While we may have different perspectives and priorities, it is clear that there is common ground in our commitment to promoting cultural diversity, equality, and equity in Mexico. By continuing to engage in constructive dialogue and collaboration, we can work towards a more and more just and inclusive society for all of us.